Milwaukee Bucks fans, welcome back to Bucks Latest presented by FanArch. I'm your host Dean Simon. Please consider liking, subscribing, turning on those post notifications to stay up to date and in the know with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. Alright, we got a big one. Bobby Portis reportedly back with the Milwaukee Bucks on a 3-year, $44 million contract after he turned down his $13.4 or $13.5 million player option. He gets a nice extension on that deal, a long-term deal. This was probably in the best interests of Bobby Portis, just the guy, getting a slight pay raise on that annual salary, going from about $13.4 million to $14.7. Of course, gets that long-term deal that he's been looking for. He put his interests first, and he eventually got a deal that is suitable for him. This deal extends to 27-28 with a player option on the last year. And having a guy like Bobby Portis, who of course was an integral part of the 2021 title team, coming back to join Giannis, it looks like, for this next iteration of the Bucks with Damian Lillard, even though he's shelved for the entirety of the 2025-26 season most likely. Bringing a guy like Bobby Portis back, who has been one of the most reliable and consistent bench scorers and bench players in the entirety of the NBA for the past 2-3 years specifically, bringing him in a guy like that to really assist with settling things down on the offensive end, a guy that's known for his scoring repertoire and his reputation as just being a guy that can come in and wreck games out of nowhere. Of course, Bobby Portis has meant so much to this Milwaukee Bucks team over the past couple of years. He's become a fan favorite, a franchise icon of sorts, and bringing him back just means everything. There were plenty of rumors that a team like the Golden State Warriors, like some other teams, could come in and be legitimate trade suitors for a guy like Bobby Portis, but all of this is now shut down. Bobby Portis back in Milwaukee on a longer-term deal with a salary range that, of course, I feel as though he likes, that he would prefer, and just having him back is awesome. It brings back a level of stability for this team, at least for their bench unit, as they're trying to restructure and retool certain things. Even though they're not going to be very competitive next season for 2026-27, for 27-28, Bobby Portis is going to be there. He's going to be an integral part of the team moving forward, and I'm just happy that he is back on the Milwaukee Bucks to co-star alongside Giannis and hopefully lead the Bucks to another championship in the very near future. But speaking of retooling and trying to get certain guys to have that championship core be set to build a contender for Giannis and now for Bobby Portis, even though guys like Brook Lopez are probably going to leave in free agency, go to the Lakers, a team that desperately needs shot blocking, just an intimidating rim deterrent that could also space the floor. Bringing in certain guys, and specifically through these reports, guys like Andrew Wiggins from the Miami Heat, guys like Gershon Yaboski from the Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, they are very different tiers of players. But Yaboski specifically, he proved a lot this past year, of course taking near a veteran minimum to play a year with the 76ers after his amazing Olympic run, his amazing international run in general over the past couple of years when he took his brief hiatus from the NBA. But as a member of the 76ers this past year, Gershon Yaboski definitely emerged as a real piece of, possibly a contending team moving forward. Gershon Yaboski is just an incredibly versatile player. In my estimation, I would have seen him as more of a 3 and a borderline 4, but the 76ers trotted him out mainly in the front court as a 4 and mostly a 5, a small ball 5. He may not get the same opportunity on the Bucks prospectively if he were to join the Milwaukee Bucks as a free agent, but he could kind of replace some of what Brook Lopez brings. Of course, on the defensive end, the shot blocking in general, the rim deterrent nature of Brook Lopez he wouldn't be able to replace that. But in terms of floor spacing, in terms of just having that defensive-minded approach in general, Gershon Yaboski would be a great two-way option for the Milwaukee Bucks to add. He's become a pretty great shooter. He's got a good handle. He can run in transition as a ball handler in transition. He can, of course, finish around the basket. He's sneaky athletic for his size. Gershon Yaboski would be a great pickup, in my opinion. As for Andrew Wiggins of the Heat, the trade packages that would have to be constructed to get a guy like Wiggins on the roster would probably include guys like Kyle Kuzma, maybe Pat Connaughton after he accepted his player option. But landing a guy like Andrew Wiggins, who has that championship experience, was basically the second best player on the Warriors during their 2022 title run, was an all-star, just proved to have all of these great intangibles when he's really, really locked in. And there's the potential still, even though he's 30, even though his salary is a little bit large, he is one of the best two-way wings in the NBA. And if he were to join a team with Giannis, he could add some good shooting punch. He's still a great athlete, just an all-around great scorer. And, of course, the length and instincts to be a great point of attack defender, and a guy that could easily fit in on a team next to Giannis, and as a guy that could cover for Dame once he's healthy. Andrew Wiggins could be a huge part of the team if the Bucks were able to figure out a certain package. They could shake hands with Pat Riley and the Heat's front office on a deal. He's again proven to be an incredibly impactful player for the Golden State Warriors. As there's a bug in my face, and for the Miami Heat, he did play very well in his late season stint with the Heat after being sent over at the trade deadline in the Jimmy Butler deal. Wiggins, it just has so much to offer still, and he's still very young. He's in the prime of his career. I don't think it would be a bad option to get a guy like Wiggins, who profiles to be, if anything, just a super solid two-way option at the small forward position. Moving forward, Ryan Rollins was given the qualifying offer for I think it was about $2.5 million, $2.6 million actually, and now he is a restricted free agent. The Bucks can match any deal that he would get, and Ryan Rollins he impressed me so much this past year, even though he didn't get that much time to shine. His minutes were somewhat inconsistent throughout the year. I believe he just has all the potential in the world to be a real contributing piece to this roster. He's just got so much upside just as an all-around talent. He could also benefit from the opportunity with Lillard being out. It's going to create little pockets of minutes for guys like Ryan Rollins, for Kevin Porter Jr. to show his stuff if he were to return, for guys like Gary Trent Jr. But Ryan Rollins could be seeing a little bit more ball handling responsibility, and I just feel as though that would be great for his development, if anything, moving forward. But it's clear that the Bucks would rather bring him back than not, in my estimation. And I don't think that you should be thinking anything different in terms of whether he would come back to the Bucks. I believe Milwaukee wants him to remain, and that'll probably be what ends up happening. I just think it would be smart to keep a young guy like him on the roster and consistently in the rotation, because he's got a lot of upside. And finally, some kind of disheartening news about Kevin Porter Jr., that he has officially declined his player option. We've kind of seen this in the past couple of days, past couple of weeks, that he may end up declining and kind of using the leverage that he created from his great last 30-game stint with the Bucks after being traded from the Clippers in the Marjon Beauchamp deal. He could use that stint that he had, that 5-game playoff run that he had, which, he was pretty impressive in that first round series against the Pacers in terms of his percentages. I think in terms of his assist to turnover ratio, just being a great playmaker, having, again, more of that ball handling responsibility, again, with Damian Lillard out for that stint. And moving forward, if he were to return, he would get, of course, more of that opportunity. But the question is he going to think about betting on himself again this coming year, instead of just hoping that his last season, his last 30 games with the Bucks, could be enough for a prospective team to come in and offer him a decent annual salary for the next year, the next 2 years? Will he coast off of last year's performance, or will he, give himself another chance to shine as a pretty important option for a Bucks team that is going to be looking for point guard play and playmaking responsibility with Lillard out? It remains to be seen whether Kevin Porter Jr. is going to return, but his offensive skill set could definitely work well with a guy like Giannis, who, he has, of course, the on-ball, the scoring ability. He can get into his own shots. He can create shots for himself, especially stepping back into the mid-range. He has a fantastic handle. If he can further increase his playmaking skill and just his awareness on the offensive end and as a pick and roll ball handler, I think Kevin Porter Jr. could do great things for a Buck, but that is if he were to come back and give things another chance and see where things could go with Giannis giving this team a shot with Bobby Portis now back for the long term. It's interesting to see whether the Bucks will be aggressive in terms of getting KPJ back, but if he were to go, I would understand it, and if anything, I would wish the best for him in that case. But if he were to remain, he would see a lot more responsibility, and that is even if the Bucks were to go and get a guy like a Malcolm Brogdon, like a Dennis Schroeder, like a Spencer Dinwiddie to also fill in at that point guard spot. He would still be relied upon pretty heavily, and he would expect to see more minutes, more opportunity just with the ball in his hands straight up. But anyways, that'll be it for me today. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Bucks Latest presented by those guys at FanArch. I have been Dean Simon. Please, again, consider liking, subscribing, turning on those post notifications to stay up to date and in the know with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Go Bucks!